The content of this video is not medical advice or a substitute for physical therapy. Please consult your physician or physical therapist before starting any exercise program.
If you've been struggling with pain under the kneecap, especially after you've been sitting for a while, let's say you get up and start walking around and you notice, wow, that's really painful under my knee, or maybe you notice it more when you're climbing stairs or going downstairs, you're likely struggling with a patellar tracking problem, also known as Patello-femoral syndrome. And I've got 3 exercises to help you improve the tracking of that kneecap and ultimately eliminate your pain. Now, to get started, you're going to need a small towel, probably just like the one that's hanging in your bathroom right now, and then also a small step stool or a box to put your leg on. More on the size of that box later. All right, now to get started with the first exercise, I want you to take your hand towel and fold it lengthwise and then fold it crosswise, and we're gonna roll it up and create a little support for the working leg. So you're gonna put this towel under the knee of the leg that you wanna work, and then I want you to rotate that leg maybe toward 10 o'clock. So my foot's kind of pointed toward 10 o'clock if my foot was pointing at a clock face. And you're just rotating it out just a little bit, and that's so that we can really concentrate our efforts on this inner quadriceps head. So, you know, your quadriceps is your front thigh muscle here. And the problem with patellofemoral pain is that this outer quadriceps head becomes very dominant and starts pulling that kneecap out of its groove. And so we need to reawaken, stimulate, reactivate this inner quad head so that we can balance out the forces on the kneecap. So what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you to take the pads of your fingers and go straight up to the very top of your kneecap, like where the actual thigh muscle starts here. And I want you to move your fingertips about 3 inches toward your midline, and that's going to place you squarely on that inner quad head that we want to reactivate. And you're going to touch it gently, but not too gently, because I want you to feel it when it activates. Now, to start activating it, you're going to straighten your knee, keeping your heel on the floor. I also like to flex my ankle. I can feel a little bit more when I do that. So you can do that as well. And you should feel that little muscle pop out underneath your fingertips. Now, depending on how badly your knee is doing here with your patellofemoral pain, you may not feel much of a signal under your fingertips at first. Some people may not even feel any signal at all. But if you keep going with it, probably after 3 or 4 reps, you should start to feel something. And if you were already feeling something, you should feel like the signal is getting stronger. So this is reactivation of this quadriceps head. And what I want you to do is squeeze and hold for about 2 seconds, so 2 Mississippis, and then slowly release. So squeeze and hold 2 Mississippis, and then slowly release. Now, I want you to start with 10 reps, make sure they're all pain-free, and then work up to 20, 30, 40, work on up to 60 or 80 if you can, because if you think about how many steps we take in a day, 8 or 10,000, at least I hope we do, then really 80 reps is not much when we're talking about getting endurance back in a muscle that has probably not really truly been online for you for a while, right? So work your way up as hard as you can towards 60 or even 80 reps of this exercise, not all in one day, over time. Now, the second exercise, as long as this one is not painful, you can start on the second exercise as well. You're going to lie face down, and we're going to invite your buttocks into the picture here. So your non-working leg can just kind of relax there, but for your working leg, I want the toes to tuck under, and then make sure your heel is pointed straight up toward the ceiling. You're not toed in or toed out. And then you can put your head down on your arm. Really, you should put your forehead straight down on your hands, but since I'm talking to you, I'm going to turn my head a little bit here. And what we're going to do is you're going to straighten that knee, and as you straighten the knee, you should also feel that your hip is straightening here. So you're not only activating your quad, you're also activating your buttock on that side. You're going to hold it for a couple of seconds, and then you're going to slowly release. Now, this is a really great exercise because it does mimic that moment in walking where you should be straightening your knee and your hip at the same time. So this is what we call a functional pair. So they work together in gait, and you're basically programming that back in right now. So you're squeezing the quad, squeezing the glute, holding for about 2 Mississippis, and then slowly releasing. Now, once again, I want you to start with 10 repetitions of this and slowly work your way up to 20, 40, 60, even 80 repetitions of this. Make sure they're all pain-free repetitions. So keep those repetitions low until they're pain-free, and then you can start to gradually increase them as tolerated. All right, now, before I go on to my third exercise, I just want to remind you that if you find this video helpful, please click like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and please do share this with friends and family that you think could really use this kind of content. I really appreciate your helping me get it out to them. Also, I put out a newsletter every week where I flesh out more on the video topics. So if you'd like a little bit more information on any given topic that I'm presenting in a week, go ahead and subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the description below. All right, now for my third exercise, we're going to need our step stool. So the height of that stool really depends on your pelvis width. You don't want it too high, because what I'm going to do here is put my top leg on it. So I've straightened my hip on the bottom. So my hip is straight, it's lying along, my thigh is lying along the step, and then I've got my top leg up here on the step stool. Now, you don't want it too high because it'll roll you backwards, right? And you don't want it too low because it'll roll you forward. So you do kind of have to get that Goldilocks perfect height. And you can use just about anything. You can use a cardboard box, you can use a kid's step stool, you could stack up some books. So I'm sure you can get creative and find something in your home you can use to support this top leg. Now you're going to put your head down on your arm, or you can also use a pillow to make sure your head and neck are neutral and you're not getting any strain in your neck here. So as you're lying here with your bottom knee bent, your hips straight on the bottom, and your top leg bent, if somebody were standing over top of you, it would look like you're running really fast. So you're in this kind of striding pattern. And what I want you to do here is you're going to press your bottom knee, it's really the end of your bottom thigh bone, straight down into the floor, or straight down into the surface you're lying on. And when you do that, you should feel your outer buttock on that bottom side activate. So just to be clear, it's this area, but on your bottom hip that you're trying to activate. So once again, you're going to press the knee, or really the end of your thigh bone, straight down into the floor, so this should not hurt your knee, to activate that outer buttock. Notice we're not trying to activate the outer thigh muscle that we talked about, that outer quadriceps head. We don't want to activate that. We want to get your buttock muscle. If that buttock muscle is working properly, then there's no need to have that much tone in your outer quadriceps head. So we're really working to balance out these forces for your knee by activating your butt as well as that inner quad head. Now, I bet you're thinking that I'm going to ask you to do like 60, 80 reps on this one too, but I'm not. On this one, I want you to start with 5 repetitions, work your way up to 10, then 15, 20 at the max, because this is a pretty intense little exercise and this glute should respond quite well. All right, I hope you found that helpful and that this really helps you start to eliminate your kneecap area pain. So until next time, keep moving and be well.